Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions.
Hi, I'm Eric Grant. We're going to use the HandyPress and install eyelets in leather applications. Usually an eyelet is used in a leather application where you want a hole which basically reinforces the leather. Now if you're installing a hole in a fabric application, usually eyelets aren't used. Instead, a grommet would be used. A grommet has a washer on the back side, so it bites into the fabric. But for leather, eyelets are very common, and they work phenomenally in the HandyPress. Sometimes it'll even punch a hole in your leather application. Other times you may have to pre-punch a hole before you set the eyelet.
Before we get started, you need to know that the HandyPress may just be the best hand press ever made. Besides the fact that it takes almost any brand die set made for any brand hand press, it has some major advantages that other hand presses don't even come close to matching. I highly recommend you watch the demo video showing the amazing features of the HandyPress. To see it, click the link in the description or in the upper right hand corner of this video. It's now time to show you how to install eyelets in leather applications using the HandyPress. Remove the thumb screw from its keeper on the side of the HandyPress and install it in the bottom shaft. Thread it only a few turns. Printed on the HandyPress dies are a letter L and U for lower and upper dies. The shaft on the HandyPress has a hole. Insert the upper die in that hole and then use the thumb screw and tighten it down securely. These dies have a post size of 9.5, which means we need to use the adapter on the side of the HandyPress and drop it into the base as shown here. This lower die has a plunger. Make sure the plunger is inserted as shown in the video. Once the lower die is inserted in the adapter, tighten down the thumb screw all the way. Lower the lever of the HandyPress all the way down. Your goal here is to have the two metal portions of the die come in contact with each other. To do this, you can simply rotate the shaft to the left or the right. We want to lower the shaft here, so we're rotating it to the left. As you lower the lever of the HandyPress, the plunger should sink into the lower die. When the two dies, the upper and the lower, come very close to coming in contact with each other, not counting the plunger, and the lever on the HandyPress is horizontal or slightly downward, now you have the optimal compression. Place the eyelet on the lower die as shown here. It's important to test your compression. Install the first eyelet in some scrap leather of the same thickness and test to make sure your compression is exactly where you want it. You can increase it or decrease it simply by rotating the upper shaft up or down. We want to decrease the pressure slightly. It's slightly indented down. So we'll turn the shaft to the right to raise that shaft slightly. Now let's test one more time and hopefully this is right. In stiffer leathers that's not too thick, you can usually punch a hole and set the eyelet all with one depression of the hand lever of the HandyPress. Now that's not the case for all leather applications, so if the eyelet doesn't install appropriately, then you may have to pre-punch a hole. For soft leathers like this chrome leather, we're going to test it to see if we can punch through it without having to pre-punch a hole. And notice the eyelet did not punch through this leather, so we'll have to pre-punch holes in this leather application. The hole should be the exact same size as the male portion of the eyelet. We're using a 5/16 inch eyelet here, so we're using the Sailrite drill hole cutter 5/16 inch to pre-punch a hole in our leather application. We'll slide on the included sliding workbench onto the base of the HandyPress and install the cutting board that's also included with the HandyPress. There are other hole cutters that work, but we find that the Sailrite drill hole cutter set works beautifully in the HandyPress, as you can see here. It punches through that leather easily. Once the holes are pre-punched, we can reinstall our dies, set our sweet spot compression, place our eyelet over the lower die, and then use that hole and place it around the male portion of that eyelet and depress the lever, and now our eyelet is installed in our soft leather application. It's that easy. You may want to consider for accuracy the optional accessory called the HandyPress sliding backstop for use with lower dies, and even the HandyPress ruler that's attached to it. Those are sold separately. To use it, remove the lower dies and slide it onto the base of the HandyPress, then install your lower dies again. With this accessory, we can take our leather assembly and place it against the backstop so that we have more accurate placement of our eyelet. Notice that you can move the workbench so the backstop is exactly where you want it, then lock it down in place. Now we could load the lower die with our eyelet and set it with a backstop, but that's not all. You can also use the HandyPress ruler and place the last adjacent eyelet at a specific position up to 12 inches away and then install it. So you have a backstop and also a ruler to determine where the next installation of the eyelet goes. The HandyPress will also work with multiple other brands and types of dies. We hope this video has been helpful. Check out our website to find out what other types and brands of dies will work with the HandyPress.